My name is Patty McGuire. I am Chair of the Alumni Council, President of the Alumni Association, a member of the class of 1981, and a parent of a very successful member of the class of 2011. Welcome tonight. We're going to have I would encourage you to start eating your salad. You're going to hear a lot of talking for a while, and while I'm talking, making noise would be the best time to do that. So please start eating. This is a great evening. Doing the Volunteer of the Year award and recognizing people who give back in extraordinary ways to Hamilton College is one of the best parts of my job as president of the Alumni Association. I want to give a quick shout out to four people. First is my vice chair, Josie Collier. Josie, there she is, doing the princess wave in the back of the room. Josie has been a tremendous partner to me in this position. We talk all the time. I depend upon her wise counsel, and I appreciate her very much. So thank you, Josie. Second, I want to introduce John and Mary O'Neill. They don't know I'm going to do this. They're even farther back. When I visit the college, I'm here pretty regularly. I live in the Pacific Northwest and make the trek here on a pretty regular basis. I stay in John and Mary's house, and this is particularly, A, it's great fun, and B, I get to stay at the pub as long as I want and not have to drive, and not have to even, I drive up here, I park the car, and then on Sunday I get in the car and leave, and it doesn't move the entire time, which is quite liberating. The third, so thank you for your hospitality. They have done this for a long time. The third person I want to recognize is a senior, Sade Tingman. Where are you, Sade? Right there. So I did an event yesterday afternoon, a reception for seniors about you're about to become alums and welcome to this world, and Sade is a HALT volunteer and one of the HALT leaders and is fabulous, and we talked for a few minutes and I was terribly impressed, and the event went on and I got in the car to go to dinner and I had a LinkedIn request from her, and it's like, you are good, so thank you. So the next person I'm going to introduce is the 20th president of Hamilton College, David Whitman.
Well, good evening and welcome everybody. Patty, thank you for the introduction. It's great to see all of you here tonight. This is the start of my 4th year at Hamilton, and every time I step outside my office door onto our magnificent campus, I think how lucky I am to be here. And when I say that, people sometimes seem a little bit surprised. But the winter, they say, how are you managing the winter? Seriously? I'm from Minnesota. If it's not 20 below, it's not winter. So this is my 4th balmy year at Hamilton. And I started with this year's senior class. So they have a very special place in my heart. I have a particular sense of loyalty to them. But let's face it, loyalty only goes so far. They're going to graduate this spring, and I'm not. Unless, of course, there's something the trustees aren't telling me. When I talk to our seniors, and I have the privilege of doing this often, and I ask them, how does it feel? This is your senior year. And they're all telling me, I'm feeling sad already. at the prospect of leaving Hamilton College. They love it here, and I completely understand, because I've come to love it here also. And after all, what's not to love? Our students are extraordinary. They're smart, they're energetic, they're talented. Our faculty and staff are outstanding, they're committed, they're dedicated. Our alumni, like the people in this room, are incredibly passionate, and it's just a beautiful place. But saying all that is like listing the ingredients on a cake. It doesn't really tell you that much, because it's only when everything comes together in just the right way that incredible transformation that we call liberal arts education actually happens. And that, I think, is what makes this college so special. The way everything comes together to create a really life-changing experience for our students. And that, in a nutshell, is our job. That's what we do. Our job is to provide the most transformative, life-changing education possible, and then to make sure, when the time comes to turn things over to our successors, that the resources are there for them to do exactly the same thing. So let's talk for a minute about our students. Right? They're incredible. We've hit a record number of applications in each of the last 3 years. This past year alone, applications were up 34%, which means our acceptance rate was 16%. It's possible I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to keep mentioning it. Now, if you're thinking, wow, 16%, I don't know if I could get in today. I just want to reassure you. I can tell you with complete confidence that I am much too polite to say so, at least in front of a microphone. So I'm always amazed by how much our students have accomplished, even before they get to Hamilton College. And I'll just give you a few facts. In this year's entering class, we have 17 students who were valedictorian or salutatorian. So you might think, well, 17 out of 470, well, that's not so many. But most high schools no longer give us an exact rank. So this is 17 out of the number of high schools that give an exact rank, which means about 15% of those students were either valedictorian or salutatorian. That's pretty impressive. 7 of them scored a perfect 36 on the ACT. Now, I don't know about you, and I'm just going to confess this in public because this is a small, intimate group. I did not score 36 on the ACT. In fairness to myself, there was no ACT when I was getting ready to go to college, but I'm pretty sure if there had been, it would not have been a 36. We have another 17 who got a perfect 800 on the math SAT. And I'm sorry to report that there was a math SAT when I was applying to college, and we're just not going to go there. We have students from 413 high schools. They're from all over the country and all over the world. They speak 36 different languages, hopefully not all at the same time. And there are 5 students in the entering class, both of whose parents were Hamilton alumni. So I'm happy that they chose the college like they had a choice. So you can imagine how this dinner table conversation went, parent. So I hope you're thinking about your college decision. I just want to assure you, you can go, this is totally your choice, and we're not going to make this for you. This is your decision. Student, really? Parent, absolutely. You can apply to Hamilton ED1 or ED2. Totally your choice. So we're happy to have them. Now these are just numbers. They don't really give you a sense of how remarkable they are as people. So I'll give you just a few little anecdotes. One of our students in the entering class comes from Houston, saved 25 people with a jet ski during Hurricane Harvey. That's pretty good, right? What would have been really impressive is if it had been a buff and blue jet ski. Another one of our students won 4 U.S. national figure skating titles. It's pretty good, as part of a synchronized skating team. I won 0 figure skating titles. One of our students founded a nonprofit called Shattering the Silence, which is an organization aimed at ending gun violence, and this student organized 10 rallies around the country on the anniversary of the Las Vegas shootings. Okay, I figured out how to get applause. I just got to talk about our students, that's good. One of our students is internet famous for her popular fan fiction series, which is based on Percy Jackson. So if you don't know who Percy Jackson is, you probably don't have a student in the entering class. And finally, we have a student who is at this very moment hiking the Appalachian Trail. Now you might think, well, wait, aren't we in session? Aren't we in the classes? How's that work? It's all good. She's a Jan, so she's coming in a couple of months. You go Jans, yeah? Go Jans, all right. This is a long way of saying our students are amazing. Now, they are part of Generation Z, also known as the iPhone generation. And sometimes Generation Z, in my view, gets a bit of a bad rap, right? This is a generation that's not very concerned about hierarchy or titles. It's, hey Dave, can I come by at 2 o'clock? That kind of thing. They're very concerned about issues of social justice. They will not hesitate to tell me when I'm doing something they don't like, sometimes with a bullhorn. And where some of them don't follow me on Instagram. Now, I learned something important this evening about Instagram. Many of you, I'm sure, are much more sophisticated than I am. But apparently there is some expectation, when someone follows you on Instagram, I guess they want you to follow them back. And I hadn't fully mastered that concept. So a couple of our alumni tonight said, well, you know what, that Instagram page, daily pics of Whitman, right? I said, well, no, what are you talking about? Apparently one of our students has created an Instagram page and they are posting every day a picture of me until I follow them back. And I decided, what the heck? Why should I follow them back? They don't keep posting. It's a good thing. The reality is, though, most of our students are a lot like we were when we were entering college. They're excited. They're a little bit uncertain. They're wondering, will I fit in? Will I be successful here? Will I ever find my way out of the Root Glen? But mostly, they, like we, are trying to figure out what should they be doing with their lives? Who are they and what should they be doing? Now, they do bring a different set of background norms than we did when we came to campus. I don't know if you know the Beloit College Mindset Survey, but at least every year they would put out a survey that would indicate how the current year's entering class differs from the past. And looking at various versions of that survey, here are some of the differences. This current entering class has never known a world in which the Soviet Union was a threat. And they've never known a world in which terrorism was not. They've never known a world without Harry Potter or with Jim Henson. They've never known a world without GPS or cell phones or laptops. And they've never known a world with gas station attendants and IBM Selectrics. They've never known a world in which Clarence Thomas was not on the Supreme Court, or a world in which Thurgood Marshall was. They've never known a world in which you could find Kurt Cobain anywhere other than on a classic oldies station. And if you don't know who Kurt Cobain is, you'll have to Google him. But most important, they've never known a world in which you could measure college tuition in 4 digits, much less 3. That's why support for student scholarships is at the heart of our Because Hamilton campaign. Nice transition, right? Segued right in there. That's good. That was good. Yeah. I worked on that. So, as you probably know, if we help this generation, why are we trying to raise money for scholarships? If we help these students, they will change the world, even if they don't know how to use a rotary phone. So 10 years ago, Hamilton made an extraordinary decision to support these students. At the height of the Great Recession, when other colleges and universities were going into retrenchment mode, Hamilton doubled down on its commitment to access and affordability. There was an extraordinary meeting of the Board of Trustees, and hands went up around the table in support of a new policy. Henceforth, the college would not consider financial need when making admission decisions, and we would commit to provide admitted students with all the financial support they needed in order to attend the college. We are one of just 4 dozen or so colleges and universities around the country that are both committed enough and fortunate enough to be able to make that promise. So those amazing freshman students I described a few minutes ago, they are the 10th entering class admitted under this policy. And this year at the 1812 Leadership Circle Dinner in Manhattan, we're going to celebrate that decision. The former mayor of New York City, Michael Bloomberg, will be one of our speakers. As you may recall, he recently made a gift to Johns Hopkins University to allow Johns Hopkins to join Hamilton as a need-blind school. It was a respectable gift. When we announced the decision to go need-blind, here's what we heard. "This could be my proudest day as a Hamiltonian," said a member of the class of 2003. "I'm impressed beyond words and moved," said a 1987 graduate. "I was a financial aid student who could not have afforded to go to Hamilton had it not been for the college's generosity. Those 4 years absolutely changed my life." And as one member of the class of 79 put it even more succinctly, "I'm beaming with pride." I mentioned earlier that scholarship support is our top priority in the Because Hamilton campaign. Our goal is $120 million for scholarships, $400 million total. As of today, we're more than halfway to our goal. And because this year marks the 10th anniversary of the need-blind decision, we're going to do something a little bit different. All gifts to our annual fund, unless otherwise specified by the donor, will go to support financial aid. We launched the public phase of our campaign at last year's 1812 Leadership Dinner in December. At that time, we had about $191 million in gifts and commitments. Today, less than 10 months later, we are at $230 million, with another $20 million or so in progress. So we are slightly, very slightly, ahead of where we need to be. Now, none of this would be possible without you. You are Hamilton's most supportive alumni and parents, our most loyal and engaged volunteers and donors, and many of our equally engaged faculty and student leaders. You provide the resources and much of the vision that enable us to do what we do. Without your involvement, Hamilton would not be Hamilton. So, thank you. In a few minutes, Patty will introduce you to another loyal alum and volunteer, Andy Burns. Andy is the 2019 recipient of the Jeff Little Volunteer of the Year Award. Andy's a Clinton native, which means he loves hockey. Kind of redundant, actually. Shortly, you'll see how those two things fit together. But first, I want to introduce tonight's student speaker. Bennett Morrison is a member of the class of 2020 and a member of the varsity men's hockey team. He's a native of Ontario. He's a double major in world politics and economics and a frequent flyer on the Dean's List. He's won prizes for academic achievement, character and leadership, and devotion to the college. During the past several summers, he conducted research for the Development Bank of Japan in Tokyo. He received a research grant from the Levitt Center to analyze Indigenous education in Brunswick, Canada. He worked as a campaign volunteer for a member of the provincial parliament in Ontario. He's also a resident advisor for 40 first-year students and a member of the Model UN team. In short, he's just a typical Hamilton student. As part of our recognition of scholarship donors this weekend, he's going to be speaking on behalf of more than 900 Hamilton students who receive scholarship aid. Please join me in welcoming Bennett Morrison.
First off, thank you. Thank you, President Whitman, for the warm welcome, for the introduction. I didn't realize we'd be wearing the same tie tonight. It looks like we organized that. It's my honor to be here tonight, especially as later Andrew Burns will be recognized as the Jeff Little Volunteer of the Year. Andy was the architect of Kraft Hockeyville event last fall, where Clinton was crowned Hockeyville USA and hosted an NHL preseason game. I had the pleasure to work with Andy a little bit on this enormous endeavor. And when I say I worked with him, I mean to say that he had me walking around Clinton for 2 days in a full in a full Kool-Aid Man suit. It was huge. Anyone who knows Andy knows that he's definitely a character, and he absolutely loves this college and this community. I met Andy for the first time one night, just down the road at Altieri's. About 3 hours later, he had talked me and a friend through every single picture on the wall in the place, completely filled with the history of Clinton hockey. His passion for Hamilton and Clinton was immediately palpable. For this reason, my Hamilton hockey teammates and I look up to Andy as a model for what it means to be a Hamilton alum. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this recognition, and I'm honored to be a part of this day. As President Whitman stated, I'm a senior, preparing for the real world, only 8 months away. I'm an economics and world politics double major. I play on the men's ice hockey team and have been a residential advisor since my sophomore year. My path to Hamilton was different than most. Being the proud Canadian that I am, I decided to take 2 years off after high school to play hockey out in Western Canada. We call this playing junior hockey. Somehow, Hamilton's men's hockey coach, Rob Haberbush, found me on this far side of the continent and invited me down for a visit. As with anyone, I was immediately taken aback by Hamilton's gorgeous campus and seemingly endless amount of resources. Once accepted, the decision to attend Hamilton was an easy one. When I reflect on my last 3 years at Hamilton, one thing that I come back to is my gratitude to the Hamilton community. I'm incredibly thankful for the unwavering support that I have received from every part of the college. This starts with the amazing people that make up the college. The faculty seem to have endless time to develop my ideas and skills. For me, these faculty include Betsy Jensen, my economics advisor, Alexia Chan of the government department, who's helped me the most with my writing, and Heather Morell of the Africana Studies department, who constantly pushes me to stay true to my passions. Some of you may also know Jean and Todd Burke. I think Todd is somewhere here tonight. 2 long-time employees of the college, and probably the kindest people I've ever met, who often invite me over for home-cooked meals out of the kindness of their heart. I think the hardest part of making this speech was keeping this list concise, as there are countless other people who have had an immense impact on my time here. Of course, my gratitude does not end at the boundaries of the college. I'm first and foremost grateful for my mom, back home in Ontario, who has worked incredibly hard as an elementary school teacher and a tutor on the side. I work hard at Hamilton because I see how hard she works to give me the opportunity to be here. Secondly, I'm incredibly appreciative to go to school with an alumni base that is so dedicated to giving and building a better Hamilton. Tonight, we are celebrating 10 years of need-blind admissions, as President Whitman stated. I'm a direct beneficiary of this program and would honestly not be here without it. Let's be frank, no one likes to ask for money. We all have pride. Financial Aid at Hamilton provides all Hamilton students the ability to make ends meet in a way that instills both pride and dignity. I've also been lucky enough to have my past 2 summer internships funded by the college. After my sophomore year, I conducted my own research project through the Hamilton's Levitt Center for Public Affairs. With the Levitt Center support, I traveled to Eastern Canada and volunteered on a First Nations reserve, while also conducting my research on Indigenous education and language revival. This past summer, I was able to travel to Japan. With a Hamilton College visiting professor, I helped him with his economic research at the Development Bank of Japan. This was an unpaid position, and thankfully, I was able to receive support through the Career Center to make this opportunity possible. Fun fact, during one of my weekends in Japan, I hiked up Mount Fuji. On my way up, a woman approached me, recognizing my Hamilton t-shirt, and was so excited. Turns out she went to Hamilton as well. It was a very special moment to make a Hamilton connection so far away from the hill. As you can tell, I've benefited greatly from alumni giving. It has literally taken me around the world and back. Hamilton alumni philanthropy has given me incredible freedom. I can't speak for every scholarship recipient, but I know that for most of us, being a Hamilton student means that we can choose what we want to do. while spending less time thinking about what we need to do to make ends meet. I'm fully able to follow my passions without settling on options that are more financially feasible. Hamilton is by no means perfect. There's always room for improvement. But the opportunities provided by the college's donors have given me countless experiences that I will forever be grateful for. As for the future, I'm hoping to attend law school next year, and I hope to follow in Andy's path of being a Hamiltonian that gives back to this great community. Thank you again for having me here. It really is an honor. Congratulations again, Andy. I also have to give a shout out for the men's hockey team this year. I hope everyone keeps an eye out. Go Blue. Again, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to meeting more of you tonight. Thank you.
It's time now for me to present the Jeff Little Class of '71 Volunteer of the Year Award. But before I do that, I want to talk about the person after whom this award is named. Jeff Little epitomizes what it means to give back to this college. He has done it in so many ways. Jeff has played a lead role. We've talked about need-blind admission. I think it's safe to say that without Jeff Little, it would not have happened. Successes like that have a lot of parents, but absolutely, Jeff Little is one of those. And thank you for that. And his contributions to this college precede that by decades. And when you walk around this campus, you see his name in a number of places. One of my favorite. What? Just because the squash courts, exactly. You know me. One of my favorites, the Little Pub. When I was a student here, the pub was in the basement of Commons. When you put a quarter in the jukebox, you got a shock. The Little Pub is nicer than that. And now Jeff is co-chair with David Solomon of the class of 1984 of Because Hamilton. And this means so much to this place. And so, he's also been a trustee, first an alumni trustee, then a charter trustee, now a life trustee. I wanted to take a moment to recognize the person after whom this award is named, and it is so aptly named. So I'm going to ask Jeff Little, Andy Burns, Julia Burns to come up here, and we're going to do a ceremony.
About a third of that is true.
Yeah, you go. Thanks, man. So I'm going to give you this. And then we're going to give it to Andy.
Okay, got it. Nice.
You need to go over there.
I hate doing what I'm told.
It's what I do. It's do what I'm told. Okay, I am going to read what is on this plaque. It says, Jeff Little, 71, Volunteer of the Year, presented to Andy Burns. In your student days, after finishing the last exam of the semester, you'd punctuate your freedom by whipping your pencil into the bushes and walking straight down the hill to the village. That was your natural path. As the 12th Burns descendant of Clinton grocer Patrick Owen Burns. To graduate from Hamilton, you grew up making the trek up and down College Hill to attend Continental's hockey and football games. Ever since, you've worked tirelessly on behalf of Town and Gown. In the 1990s, you were one of the founders of Kirkland Ventures, an effort that united community organizations and the college to pursue projects for economic benefit of all. In 2001, you helped establish Hamilton's Town Gown Fund, which to date has invested more than $840,000 to support Clinton schools and local nonprofits. And then there's your passion for hockey. Your contributions to your alma mater go far beyond the ice, to be sure, but we must call attention to your role spearheading the smashingly successful celebration of 100 years of Hamilton hockey in 2018. You logged hundreds of hours researching hockey history and how it linked college and community for a century. In addition, you were instrumental in recruiting and managing scores of volunteers to pull off a weekend-long commemoration that ultimately sparked Clintonians and Hamiltonians alike to rally to capture the National Craft Hockeyville USA title. Distance from home and hill has been no barrier to your service. No matter where your career successes have taken you, you've been there for the Buff and Blue. You and Julia host meals for alternative spring break groups, the choir, the college choir, traveling athletic teams at your home in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For many years, you served as class president, as regional chair, in addition to your involvement in the Town Gown Committee, Alumni Council, Class of '78, reunion committees, Wall Street Association, and Career Center programs. You once said that you are forever grateful to Hamilton for teaching you to write and defend an argument, and for fostering friendships that last a lifetime. And although you have yet to fulfill your goal of commissioning a gondola to take alumni and students up and down College Hill, I know, right? We are here today to tell you, we are here to tell you today that Hamilton is forever grateful for all you do. The Alumni Association takes great pleasure in presenting you with the Jeff Little 71 Volunteer of the Year Award.
I'm just going to say one thing. Everybody is, Chapel Hill is always saying, "Where's Andy?" I'm like, Andy sleeps in Chapel Hill, but he lives in Clinton, New York.
Wow. They even found out about the gondola. The reason I thought of the gondola is that when I grew up and when a lot of the older people here went to Hamilton, one of the reasons why the village and the college were so close is that hitchhiking was completely acceptable. And so there is a cement section in the village where hoogies, which is what we called all of you, where college kids would just stand and barely put out their thumb, and anyone heading to the college whether they're going to Vernon or a farmer or what have you, would pull over and bring them up the hill. Same, you could hitchhike down. We even had a dog that hitchhiked that figured this out. Olive. She'd go down the village and wander around for a while and then go barking at the hitching corner and come back up. So somebody bothered somebody once and we had to stop the hitchhiking. But maybe now with Uber and Lyft and with all that, we can, figure out a new sort of way to get everybody going back and forth. I'm thinking we could call it dwipping. See, you dwip down to the rock, dwip back. You never know. Alumni Council, I can't tell you enough how grateful I am about this, but since I took English at Hamilton, I realize I can tell you how grateful I am. I am really happy to get this award. I am really happy. Of course, I'd like to thank Julia, who is Dr. Julia Burns, who, when we lived here for about 15 years, she is a psychiatrist and handled many of the issues of students up here. And we're both very happy that there's a health center here on campus now. Julia was at the front of that for many, many years. And if she hears the name Albert Prettyman 8 more times, I may be out of Chapel Hill for good. I'd like to thank my friends and family. When you grow up in a town like Clinton of 1,800 and then go to school half a mile away in a community of 1,800, you end up, and then move back later for 15 years, you end up with a lot of friends and family. And in fact, the two words start coming together. I don't really know the difference between friends and family in this area. And you're here, many of you, those friends and family, and thank you. You know who you are. Thank you. I'm so glad this is the Jeff Little Award. Jeff's a great Hamiltonian, as Patty just reviewed. But one of the better decisions he ever made was naming Jack Withian his best friend when they were here at Hamilton. We're a little bit like, it's Jeff and Jack. It's kind of one word, kind of like my brothers, Nick and Dave. They're here tonight. It's one word, Jeff and Jack. But as I was talking town gown and hockey through 20 years or more, it was always Jeff and Jack that lent me an ear and would help me kind of work through the issues that needed to be done. But Jeff and Jack, thank you so much. Thank you so much. My great-grandfather, Oni Burns, they called him Oni, dropped out of Clinton High School in the late 1800s and started a grocery store in what is now the Subway building down near the Rock. And he sent his 4 sons to Hamilton. I think it cost $75 per child then. But he also sent a number of other townies because he was quite successful. And $75 maybe wasn't that much then, I don't know. But that's where it all started. And those 4 boys sent 7 of their children, all boys, because that's all the way the school was. And so that's where our legacy began. And the 19th has since graduated from Hamilton with roots to Clinton, and we're hoping for another generation soon. But one of the things I just wanted to mention is that our family, whether going to Hamilton or not, we have basically 5 generations of interacting on a town gown sense. And I'm getting the Jeff Little Volunteer Award, the Year Award, but my brother Dave is here tonight, and his daughter Beverly and our cousin Bobby couldn't make it, but they both work for the Volunteer Fire Department and for the Ambulance Corps, all 3 of them. And they should get this award every single day for coming up here to Hamilton College and other places locally, all as volunteers for serving the town and gown. When I moved back here in 1992, moved my family, the economy was quite weak. And there was no better poster child for that than Hamilton, New York, where Colgate is. Hamilton, New York was falling apart. The facades were falling into the streets. And Jane Pynchon, the president, interim president then, came to speak here in Clinton and talked about how fortunate we were to have a village and town that was thriving while theirs was falling apart. They ended up spending $20 or $30 million, the trustees at Colgate, to fix up their town. So I started studying this, and I made a pitch to the Hamilton trustees, and I opened by saying, I want to have the conversation with you, Hamilton trustees, that Colgate wishes somebody had had with them 50 years ago, so they won't end up in this situation of a village and a town falling apart where they have to get into the village building business. And after all, Colgate's mission is to be the best safety school in the world, and here they were. Well, I asked Joan Stewart afterwards if I could have a building named after me for saving the college $20 million. She hit me in the shoulder and said no. But so much has happened since. A lot has happened. Hamilton has started a pilot tax program where they pay a lot of taxes because the fraternities were coming off the tax rolls. They pay a lot more than they have to. They gave money for the fire truck downtown, $300,000 or something like that for the fire truck. We started the town gown fund, has $1.8 million in it now. It's improved communication, and as they mentioned, $800,000 has been given to the town. But the number one way that we've collaborated in the communication and better town gown was that darned hockey thing. I mean, it just worked. You know, we had the Thank You Albert Prettyman Hockey, followed by Kraft Hockeyville. And I have to make sure that I mention that Patty Louise is here tonight, who was we're at the 1-year anniversary of the game. And Calumet, but Patty was there to hand the trophy over, and I saw her on NBC Sports last night out in Michigan, and she's here tonight. But Patty Louise really did the whole Kraft Hockeyville thing. Wherever you are, Patty. Oh, there you are, Patty. Welcome home. The day that we were all at the Clinton Arena, hundreds and hundreds of us waiting to find out if we won the Kraft Hockeyville contest. And the Stanley Cup game was on, and we had the TV up, and we knew it was going to be announced during these periods, and we were all so pensive and waiting. And like seconds before that, before it came on the TV, I got a phone call from Jack Withiam. I said, Jack, what's up? He goes, you won. I said, what do you mean we won? I'm looking at the TV and nothing's going on. You won. And I thought, what did that work? Well, it turns out he was 15 seconds ahead of us with, well, maybe the signal comes to Clinton slow, I don't know, or he was watching another game, but he saw the announcement 15 seconds before we did, and I didn't know what to do with it. Then it came on the TV, we found out that we won, and the place went bananas. And I'm telling you, I've never seen so many grown men in plaid shirts and blue jeans and Carhartts crying in my life. It was an unbelievable experience. And in the middle of it all was David Whitman, down there at the Clinton Arena. David completely gets that we're a community, and he's been hugely supportive and is the best town gown president I've ever known of. Maybe there were some before, but thank you, David. He's there, he gets it, and we're looking forward to the future. We are. Before I close, I'd like to make one pitch. I'm always pitching something. You know, the Clinton Arena is we're the best small hockey town in America with the Clinton Arena. I'd love to see Hamilton play more hockey games down there. It's easier to watch games down there. Bennett, maybe you could chime in on that, but I'd like to see them play more games down there that have bigger audiences, and it'd be a great thing for the students to bust down and get dinner tickets and so on. Let's work on that. That'd be a fun thing to bring the town and the gown together over. So to the Alumni Council, to Julia, and of course my family, to friends and family, which are all one thing, to Jack and Jeff, who helped me so much, and to David, from the bottom of my heart and from the top and the bottom of this hill, thank you.
So I am now the only thing standing between you and your entree. So I have about 15 more minutes of, no. So I would like to ask the servers to come in and bring in the entrees, but while they're doing that, and please start, I want to tell a little story about my freshman year at Hamilton College related to food. The food service company that had been here was a company called Service Systems, and they'd been the food service company for 35 years or something. And during January term, we had a dinner that was fried bologna and onions. And no, it gets better, because the vegetarian alternative was onions. You know, cooked in bologna juice, of course. But among the improvements at Hamilton College is the food. And I assure you the food we're going to get tonight is better than what they had in common. So enjoy your dinner. I'll be back later to say a few more words. And congratulations, Andy. So we've talked a bunch about scholarships and need blind admission. We heard from Bennett, a scholarship recipient. And what makes that possible is gifts to this college. And in your program, there's this cool little card that has all sorts of information about cups, which are presented to classes that do amazing things to raise funds for this college. Now, I could read this entire thing to you, but I have opted not to. But I would, thank you. But let me say, what is on here is really important. I encourage you to read it. You can read about classes that contributed a class that contributed $2 million to the college last year. There are cups over here to acknowledge amazing work in terms of total dollars, percentage participation. I encourage you to read this. It's important stuff. It's what makes this possible. So to all of the cup recipients, in lieu of reading this entire card to you, I would like to offer my congratulations and applause. For alumni council members, we meet in the Tolles Pavilion tomorrow morning. Breakfast is at 8. I have been promised that it will actually be breakfast and not just yogurt and granola as it was at reunions, that there's going to be a real breakfast. So 8 a.m., Tolles Pavilion, the meeting, for those of you who know me, know that it will start promptly at 8:30. We have a hard stop at 10:15 so we can hear about the state of the college from President Whitman. So please be there and please be on time. Is there anything else I need to announce? Enjoy your dessert, enjoy your evening. I intend to spend the later part of the evening at the little pub. If anybody wants to buy me a beer for my exemplary service tonight, I would welcome that and have a great time.